Guys, welcome back to another episode of me analyzing your replays and not pro replays. And today we have a diamond level Protoss Alexius playing versus higher and higher MMR opponent in the form of this Terran. So we've got a PvT, and today's episode will be mostly about why pro benchmarks are so incredibly important and how to scout and get better vision. So let's start. Of course, this is being played on a new map, so we can't be taking too much of a look at how the wall off is fucked up or not. I don't actually know if the wall off is fucked. I don't actually know if you can wall off on this map. Harstem did a video on it and I watched it and I forgot already because I don't have to play them yet. But if you want to know how to wall off on maps versus PvT, just check that out. In this game, Alexius is going for a quick expansion, one gate, very standard, the normal opening as we all know. And he's going for a Stalker first. Now, I would almost always recommend going for an Adept first. Just because, also the Reaper can jump up, that feels so bad. Just because you can get so much more intel on what the Terran is doing. And the thing you want to scout for with the Adept, if not already with the Probe. So with the Probe and the Adept, you can scout for whether or not it's going to be a Reaper or it's going to be a Marine first. And if it is a Marine first, you can, or Reactor first even, you can kind of guess that something more aggressive is going to happen in a lot of the cases. And then with the Adept, what you can also scout is whether or not it's going to be a factory on a reactor. Now you can check for the gas timing and like see that it might be a gas first and might then lead to like a higher chance of Hellions, but I really like to just shade in with my Adept and see the factory on a reactor, because then I know it's going to be either Hellions and Marines. That's sorry, Hellions or Mines, not Marines. And then we've got already good intel. Now, in this game, Alexius is going to go for the Robo and the Colossus Bay. So quick Robo into Colossus Bay. And this is where the big thing comes in. The big thing about pro benchmarks. Also Protoss benchmarks, but about pro benchmarks. And that is that if you have a build, right? If you have a build that you know is being played on pro level, I would always tell you to go for the exact way the pro is playing it, unless you have a very specific reason not to do it. Unless you have a very specific reason, like, okay, on this level, this shit might happen. You should always follow the pro benchmarks. And this replay should be the example of why, right? Because what happens in this replay, and also, by the way, if you want to know, Harstem has done a guide on this specific build about a year ago, and it still holds true. But he also, I think, is going to upload a supply challenge with this build today or tomorrow, and I'm going to upload this video today. At least he mentioned that in his last HarstemHour. And you can follow the benchmark there, but in general, of course I know the benchmarks in general, the way it works out is that you start the robotics bay after the second observer has started, right? So basically Alexius is getting the robotics bay too early. And now you might think, wait, how do you get something too early? Wait, how does that work? Like, you can't anything too early in StarCraft, right? Like, that doesn't work. Like, earlier Colossi are great, right? Here's the thing. What happens in this game is that because the robotics bay was too early, the Nexus is going to be delayed and the gases are going to be delayed. Now, the Nexus being delayed is a problem that a lot of people like to look at, like, oh no, my Nexus is 1 minute late, what do I do? Nothing, it doesn't matter too much. Honestly, it doesn't, like, unless you're GM, fuck the Nexus. But the gas timing, that is a big problem. Because what will happen throughout this game is that the entire tech is going to be delayed because Alexius got the robotics bay too early, and because of that didn't get the gas earlier. So, on top of that, of course, pro production is missing, and a lot of mechanical mistakes on diamond level still happen, right? I'm gonna put a bigger emphasis on that later in the game. But of course, we're also not mining, which is a huge problem. We're not mining from the gas, but you should get 2 gases. And maybe like a lot of people, and I would recommend that as well, is taking the third base before the gases. You can take the gases before the third base as well. I would recommend that for like, unless you're like GM and want maximum efficiency, just get the gases. But you can really tell how the gases will fuck up a lot, right? Because at like around 5:10 or like 5 minutes, you want a Twilight with Blink. But he can't get that because he doesn't have the gas. So there's going to be a Colossus Chrono boosters are being used well though. There's going to be a Colossus out, and there's like no tech. There's no tech. It's another Colossus, and we're chrono boosting the gate, which is always a bad idea, because you always want chrono boost on either economy or tech, but you can't get any tech because the gases are late, and that is why pro benchmarks are so incredibly important, because pro benchmarks are naturally figured out in the way that they make the most sense, are the most efficient, and that you get the tech timings as quickly as you have to get them in an ideal scenario, right? But in this game, because we didn't follow pro benchmarks and we fucked up a little bit with the gas mining, we don't have enough gas to get the Twilight at 510. We get instead getting the Twilight at 6 something, I think 610. So the Twilight is like 1 minute late, which means Blink or Charge will be 1 minute late. We don't really have the gas for anything else. Gateways are being built, but now we're already behind on the tech and on the build order in terms of tech, and that's horrible. That's already bad, right? So another big thing that we go back, we go back here. Another big thing, of course, as I already mentioned, is pro production. Right, pro production is very spotty, as you can tell, and I don't like to have too much of mechanical mistakes. But the problem is that pro production is such an important thing. It is so fucking important, right? It is so incredibly important that the fact that this third base is not mining, like the Terran is on even worker count, right? So mechanical mistakes matter when your opponent is better. That was a rhyme, that was unintentional. Because now, wait, Terran is on even worker count. You never want to be on even worker count with the Terran in this stage of the game, right? And this is a very simple fix. You just press, let's see, we press 4 and then we press E, and then we're good, right? Of course, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. StarCraft is very overwhelming. But this is the second big problem that I have to take notice, because outside of these two problems, there's a third big problem, right? But outside of these two problems, Alexis is doing a lot of things right. We see the gateway count rising before he's building units, which is amazing. So the production is good. We see chrono boosts being used, unfortunately on the gateways, but that's also already pretty good. We see the production, we see chrono boosts being used, and in general, like the generality of the builder is good. But just the fact that production is already up and is already being built is great. That's great. That's super important. So we don't have to worry about that. But the two main problems already mentioned, again, the way the build order worked out and the way the build order is just not efficient. And if you look at the pro replay, you would instantly fix that. Number one. And number two is pro production and economy management, as we already talked about. Especially with gas, because after all, StarCraft still mostly is an economy game. And now the third biggest problem that you probably didn't notice earlier is this. If you go to Alexius Vision, we have no idea what the Terran's doing. No idea. No fucking idea. Like nothing. And that is bad. That is bad. We have observers lined up for the main attack paths here, here, and here. But the problem is we don't have an observer in this range. We don't have an observer in this range, but we have the pylon. That is really great that the pylon is there. So vision is a really big problem in this game. But vision, I already did a video on this channel. You can check that in the guides. But vision is important in 2 ways. 3 ways actually, but we'll only be talking about 2 in this one. Number 1, finding out losing conditions, right? And usually you find that out via build orders, or like we are finding out what exactly your opponent is doing. And we don't have any idea on what the Terran might be doing. He might be moving out, he might be massing an army, he might be going mech, for fuck's sake. I don't know. It might happen. I wouldn't recommend mech for Terran players, but it might happen. He might be going for a third base, which is exactly what he is doing. He might be doing so many things, so we don't actually know what our Terran is going for. He's going for advanced ballistics, which would be really good to know, but we don't know that. But let's be real. I don't know about you guys, but I never know when my Terran opponent is building a fusion core. I never check for that. What I do versus Terran is I check for general things. I check for, okay, is he generally going for a quick third? Where's in general his army? What is his army? What does his army consist of? And how does it move, right? So that means we need better map vision, and we need an observer kind of in the vicinity of the army. But even then, I at least would want to know how many Rex he has and what he's in general going for. And the fact that he only has an engineering bay. We don't have to conclude anything from that, but just kind of knowing what he's doing leads to one big thing, and that is feeling more comfortable with the game. And because you feel more comfortable with the game, because you see what your opponent is doing, you will make less mistakes. So guys, if you oftentimes find yourself in a situation where you get surprised by something and you notice like a little bit of stress building up because of that when you're playing, because oh shit, what is my opponent doing? Just remember that you can always scout with something, you can always send out a prop or something. And this, even though at first it will mean more things to do because you have to scout, if you think about it as a way of like not scouting for specific things, but more scouting to make yourself feel comfortable, you will get to a point where the rest of the game will feel so much more comfortable and so much more relaxed that the extra mechanical thing you have to do will be nothing compared to the amount of stress-free StarCraft you can play, where you can just chill, focus on your build order and on the exact build order you want to go for. And these three mistakes, the vision, the lack of economic management, and the not damn it, I didn't close WhatsApp. Fuck. Lack of economic management, vision, and non-efficient build order lead to this thing where the Terran is ahead in workers. Protoss has production up but lost a lot of workers to Liberators because of the lack of vision. And the Terran just moves out, and as Protoss we just have kind of a very weak army. We don't have charge because our Twilight was late a minute. And we didn't Kune boost it actually as much as we could have. We don't have a big army because our opponents, our probes weren't really built. Look at how little probes we have on the third base. And we are not in a good position because the Terran army moved out and we didn't really notice. Like we noticed because he was moving through that observer. Again, these observers are not in a bad position. And also just saying it's a new map, so it's going to be hard to find the correct paths to check. But these three mistakes lead to this fight where we go in and we just don't have enough. Like we don't have charge. We don't have charge. We don't have a lot of army, and we were not in a good position, and we just lose the fight. And the Terran is ahead in every way because of the economy and because of economy, because of the way he trades, because of the Liberators, and that's GG. So again, the main focus of this replay for me was supposed to be on pro benchmarks, but it's really in this replay for you, Alexius. It's these three things. It is the pro benchmarks and the way the builder is supposed to work out. It's economic management and it's vision. Guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I have to edit the WhatsApp sound, or actually, yeah, I'm going to do something with that. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, all the usual stuff. Also, if you have any questions regarding this replay or anything, feel free to come to my Twitch channel. I stream every day 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. CEST. Everything is linked down below. And I hope you're going to have a great rest of your day. Take care. Enjoy yourselves. Peace.